and also the latest on the ground and bring in our military experts. Retired Lieutenant Colonel of the U.S. Army Tony Shaffer, who is also the president of Project Sentinel, joins us today, and CEO of the Israel Innovation Fund and IDF volunteer Adam Scott Bellos. Gentlemen, welcome into you both.
Hey, Bianca.
Thank you for having me.
The pleasure. All right, let's get to this, the Houthis action. Obviously, they have hijacked a ship. Now they're increasing their attacks, the USS Carney and other commercial vessels. We just saw that extensive report, Tony, from our Logan Raddick. It's like 70 plus attacks. We've had 6. What's going on, and why would the USS Carney not retaliate? You heard the rules of engagement. Is there something you're reading into this that we are not hearing publicly?
Well, no, we're on the path to another USS Cole attack. Remember, USS Cole was attacked and damaged badly by terrorists in Yemen. So it was neglect under the Clinton administration that resulted in a U.S. warship almost sinking. Now, we're on the same path because, as Ms. Singh said during her press conference, they can only respond. They cannot get ahead of it. And to your point, and as our Pentagon correspondent talked about, Bianca, we're talking about 20 to 1. 20 attacks to 1 response, and the responses aren't effective. So at this point, by every action of the Biden administration, they're just simply encouraging attacks against the United States. Plus, think about this also. Also reported is that Blinken went over and lectured the Israelis on what the New York Post calls a number of impossible steps that are completely unrealistic. It's the fact that the Biden administration has multiple messages, none of them focused. The Biden administration's a joke and everybody's ignoring them. So the more they're ignored, the more the Iranians are going to be aggressive.
And the more our troops stationed there are in peril. And I think it's true.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is the messaging here that is deplorable. I mean, they wanted some accounting of every humanitarian in Gaza, and it is coming from this. As if there's a census there. I said. I mean, it's not even possible. Adam, bringing you into the fold, you know, Congresswoman Jayapal talked about what is happening in the rape of women at the hands of Hamas. I do want to play this clip so our viewers can get some of the context here.
I've condemned what Hamas has done. I've condemned all of the actions. Absolutely. The rape, of course. But I think we have to remember that Israel is a democracy. That is why they are a strong ally of ours.
I'm asking you about Hamas. In fact,
I already answered your question, Dana. I said it's horrific, and I think that rape is horrific, sexual assault is horrific. I think that it happens in war situations. Terrorist organizations like Hamas obviously are using these as tools. However, I think we have to be balanced about bringing in the outrages against Palestinians.
And it's horrible, but you don't see Israeli soldiers raping
well, Dana, I think we're
being balanced. I have to tell you, I was scrolling through social media and I read some of the comments of how those women were killed at the music festival, and it actually made me physically ill, and I couldn't continue to read because I couldn't believe a human could do this to another human, Adam.
It's exactly how I feel every time I watch the clip. It's absolutely disgusting. Tell me about it. Hashtag Me Too, unless you're a Jew. Clearly, because every single time anything having to do with any form of sexual violence or crime against humanity that was perpetrated against Israelis on October 7th, everybody's just saying the word but afterwards, but this, but Israel is this, but the occupation this. It's total hypocrisy, and it's a complete clear picture of what the radical left and pretty much very many members of the Democratic Party not only think of Jews, but think of Israelis and think of Israel. And, you know, in terms of what's going on in Iran with the Houthis, it's also very clear that the administration's foreign policy is all over the place and they can't get anything straight. So why would you ever assume that anybody on the left is going to be able to actually condemn sexual violence perpetrated against Israelis on October 7th? There's always a but at the end of this. It's always but this, but that, but Israel this. And it's completely disgusting and hypocritical, just like the UN Women's Council waiting over 60 days to condemn the sexual violence of October 7th, citing that they needed an independent investigation. But apparently they didn't need that for Boko Haram and many other incidents.
Right. There's always but you have a right to protest, but you have a right to do this until it turns when someone is killed at a protest, anti-Israel.
Well, notice
protest
how
like
it's
was in
only a
California.
but when it comes to Jews.
Right, exactly.
It's only
exactly,
a but when it comes to
clearly.
Jews.
I do want to talk about Paris real briefly, though, because when we think of violence, you know, in Paris, there is a person who pledged allegiance to ISIS. He killed a German tourist, wounded 2 others, a stabbing attack near the Eiffel Tower. Now we're hearing that he reportedly was released from prison in 2020 after plotting an Islamic terror attack, according to France's Interior Minister. Tony, I don't have a lot of time here, but sum up what you think we're seeing here with lone wolf attacks brazen like this.
Well, it's going in the same direction we saw with ISIS back in 2015. These lone wolf attacks are inspired by groups like ISIS and now Hamas. This guy was inspired by Hamas. So be very clear. Let's be very clear on this. I think we're going to see a trend of this because Hamas's message is overwhelming, is echoed and expanded in the mainstream media. It's dangerous, not only in the battlefield. We're going to see more of this sort of thing in big cities.
Adam Scott Bellos.
Agree.
Tony Schaefer, guys, come back real soon. Really appreciate your analysis today.
Thanks, Bianca.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, a pleasure. Thank you both. We're going to take a very brief break. We're just getting started, though. Again, it is major breaking news. New bank records released by